to tell you the story about my crow and the gingerbread man. Now, you might think you know the story, but it might not be quite like you've remembered. The way he told me the beginning was, was this old lady, and she was doing some baking because it was her birthday, and the children and grandchildren were all coming to see her. Now, she'd made a great big tray full of cakes. Then she made another tray of gingerbread men. Took them out of the oven, she put them on the rack to cool. When they were cool, she started decorating them. And she got the icing on, the little currants and things. And the time she got to the end of the tray, suddenly, my gingerbread man, the first one, jumped off, down onto the floor, ran across the kitchen, out the door into the garden. Can you believe it? So the old lady says, "Stop, stop," and ran after him. You know what gingerbread men are like. He called back, "Run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man." He was right. She couldn't catch him. She was an old lady. So he ran on down the road and he ran past a cow. And the cow went, "Mmm, mmm," which you probably know is cow for stop, stop. The gingerbread man ignored the cow, carried on running and shouted back, "Run, run as fast as you can. Can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man." He was right too. Cow couldn't catch him. So he kept on running. He ran past a dog. And the dog called, "Ruff, ruff." You must know that's dog for stop, stop. Gingerbread man ignored him. Apart from, he called out, "Run, run as fast as you can. You won't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man." He was right. Dog didn't catch him. Then he ran into the woods. The path was going through the woods. And as he was running, a fox appeared. And the fox said, "Oh, I say, old chap, would you care to come to tea?" And the gingerbread man just carried on running. And he called out, "Run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man." The fox couldn't catch him, but he wandered on after him. Then the gingerbread man ran out and ran along the path. And suddenly he came to the banks of the River Mold. The path ran out. There was no bridge, no boat. He couldn't get across. And he turned round, looked back, and there was the fox wandering along the path. And the fox says to him, "Oh dear, I tell you what, old man, looks like you can't really go any further, can you?" He licked his lips and he said to the gingerbread man, "That's rather unfortunate, isn't it?" And the gingerbread man was right worried. You can see why, can't you? But just then, he heard a sound of splashing. That's when me and the boys rode along the river. And when I saw what was happening, I pulled up my cutlass and I shouted, "You clear off, fox." And I called to the gingerbread man, "You've got a decision to make, my lad. Do you want to come on here with us or face the fox?" And the gingerbread man looked at us and he looked at the fox. He looked at us and he jumped onto the boat. And I said, "Now, fox, you got a decision to make. Do you want to face the anger of Patch Pegg or do you want to clear off?" He cleared off. So I put my sword away. And then we carried on rowing up the river till we came to a good looking place. It was a little old cottage, kind of a deserted look. A big tree in the garden, an apple tree it was. And there was this mulberry bush, little scruffy mulberry bush. And it had a little path down to the river and a nice bank to land on. So I said to the lads, "Come on, lads, row in there. That'll do us." And the gingerbread man said, "What are we doing?" And I said, "Well, we got a little job to do here." And I picked up my box and I showed him this little box I had. He said, "What's that?" And I said, "That's Gus." He said, "What's Gus?" And I said, gold underground storage, a treasure chest you'd call it, I expect. You've got to bury it here, nice and safe. So we dug a hole, we buried it, and we put the mulberry bush back on top so no one would know there was treasure buried there. And I said to the gingerbread man, that's there. We four are the only ones who know where it is. We'll keep that in our heads. Not going to make no one of them stupid maps nor nothing. No. They're always a giveaway. We'll just remember. Then we went back to the boat and the lads rowed back down the river, past the point where we'd picked up the gingerbread man, then back on along the river. And I said to him, tell you what, we're a bit short-handed in the crew. I might be able to find you a berth. Do you want me to have a word with the captain? Captain Roberts is a fair man. And the little gingerbread man said, yes, please. I'm not having much luck on land. So we rode on up the river until we got to London. And there was our ship, the Zanzibar. Prettiest ship ever sailed the Spanish Main. And we rowed out to it, and I helped the little gingerbread man up the ladder onto the deck. And there stood Captain Roberts and some of the crew. And I marched up to him with the little gingerbread man, and I said, Captain Roberts, I got a man here who wants to join the crew. What do you think? And the captain looked at him and he said, bit little, isn't he? And I said, well, yes, he is small, but he is fierce and he's good at running. And the captain said, well, not much call for running on a ship, is there? He said, mind you, we are short a cook. Can he cook? I said, well, I don't know, Captain. And I turned to the gingerbread man and I said, can you cook? And he said, I'll try as hard as I can. I can probably cook. I'm the gingerbread man. So I said to the captain, he'll have a go, sir. And the captain said, okay, we'll give him a try. If he can't make dinner, he'll make pudding. So with that, we'll give him a try. And he made us a fish stew that night. And I tell you what, I'd never in my life tasted such a good stew. Oh, it was perfect. The flavour was right. It was just the right thickness. And the captain said, I'll tell you what, my boy, you've got a berth. You are now the official cook for the Zanzibar. And to seal the deal, gave him a gold doubloon. And that was that. And that's my story. Gingerbread man stayed on the Zanzibar for years to come, and he was the best cook we'd ever had. Right, I don't suppose you want any pirate jokes, and I don't blame you. But you're going to get some anyway, because I like to tell them. Now, why do pirates struggle learning the alphabet? It's because they're often stuck out at sea. I didn't say they was going to be good jokes. Once they do learn the alphabet, what's our favourite letter? R. And a similar joke, what's our favourite character in the Star Wars film? R2-D2. What did the old pirate say when he spotted his friend on his birthday? Matey. Have you ever heard a really good pirate joke? But it wasn't today, was it? Okay, that'll do. That'll shut me up, won't it? Let's move you on to the next bit. Have I told you yet how sorry I am about them jokes? They weren't good, were they? And I tell you what, there's worse to come. I'm going to sing. But at least you can join in and drown me out. Oh, bit frightening talking of drowning. Come on then, I'm going to sing this song about when I was young. I wanted to be a pirate. You might know the song. If you do, join in. If you don't, Let's go and have a cup of tea or a glass of lemonade or something. Anyway, here we go. There will be a reward at the end because we'll get to listen to the wonderful John Rowe telling his stories. Okay. When I was one, I took my gun the day I went to sea. I jumped aboard a pirate ship and the captain said to me, "We're going this way, that way, forward and backwards over the Irish Sea. A bottle of rum to fill my tum, and that's the life for me. Oh, arr. When I was two, I tied my shoe the day I went to sea. I jumped aboard a pirate ship and the captain said to me, "We're going this way, that way, forward and backwards over the Irish Sea. A bottle of rum to fill my tum, and that's the life for me. Oh, arr." When I was three, I hurt my knee the day I went to sea. I limped aboard a pirate ship and the captain said to me, "Oh, don't take on so. We're going this way, that way, forward and backwards over the Irish Sea. A bottle of rum to fill my tum, and that's the life for me. Oh, arr." When I was four, I opened the door the day I went to sea. I jumped aboard a pirate ship and the captain said to me, "We're going this way, that way, forward and backwards over the Irish Sea. A bottle of rum to fill my tum, and that's the life for me." Oh, arr. Last verse. When I was five, I learned to dive. The day I went to sea, I jumped aboard a pirate ship and the captain said to me, "We're going this way, that way, forward and backwards over the Irish Sea. A bottle of rum to fill my tum, and that's the life for me." Oh, well, thank you for listening. Now, as a reward for being so patient, let's hear some stories from John Rowe, a wonderful English storyteller. Here we go then.
Hello, my name's John Rowe, and I tell stories and poems. And I'm incredibly pleased to be invited to tell stories to you at Mole Valley Arts Festival, whatever age you are. And I think, what story shall I start with? I know. I'm going to start with a story about Jack and his friends. And before I start, I'm going to ask you to do something. I want you to help me start. If I shout crick, you shout crack. And that means I'm ready to tell the story and you're ready to listen. Are we ready? Crick, crack. Crick, crack. Crick, crack. Story break me back. Well, way back in time, when my hair was dark and my beard was ginger, and all my teeth were me own, there was a boy called Jack, and he lived with his mum on a farm. And it was a bad year, and it was a bad harvest, and there was next to nothing to eat. And Jack went, "Mum," the way that some children do. Not anyone listening here, I'm sure. "Mum, give me a cake and a jug of milk and I'll be off to seek my fortune." Well, Mum looked at Jack and said, "Look, take half a cake and half a jug of milk and I'll wish you luck. Or a whole cake and a whole jug of milk and I won't." And of course he took the half a cake and half a jug of milk and he set off down the road. Well, he'd hardly gone down the road when he heard a stomping and a clomping and a braying from the stream below. He looked down and there was a donkey drowning. As quick as he could, he got a pile of stones, threw them into the stream, and he built a bridge. And he pulled out the donkey. And you all know exactly what the donkey said. "Thank you very much. For I would surely die, and where do you happen to be going?" "Well, I'm off to seek my fortune," said Jack, "or at least live to the next harvest." Do you mind if I come with you? Said the donkey. Not at all, said Jack, and they set off down the road. Well, they'd hardly gone down the road when they came to a city. They went to the middle of that city, and there was a group of children. They were bigger than you. And they were shorter than you. And they were chasing a dog through the city, and tied to the dog's tail was a kettle, and they were throwing stones at the dog and stones at the kettle. As they ran past Jack and the donkey, Jack shouted now, and the donkey brayed as loud as it could. What noise do donkeys make? Ee-aw! Louder than that. Come on, let's try it. Ee-aw! No, even louder than that. Ee-aw! The children were so frightened, they ran off in all directions. Jack got the dog, undid the kettle from its tail. You all know exactly what the dog said. Thank you very much. For I would have surely died. And where do you happen to be going? Well, I'm off to seek my fortune, said Jack, or at least live to the next harvest. Do you mind if I come? That's right, with you. Not at all, said Jack, and they set off down the road. It was about this time down they were getting a bit hungry, and there wasn't anywhere to buy food in sight. There was no macaroni and cheese stall, there was no noodle stall, there was no fish and chip stall, there was no burger stall, there was no veggie stall. So they all sat down on a grass verge for something to eat. And Jack, he was eating his cake, and the dog was chewing a bone, and the donkey was eating some thistles, when along came a cat, and this is absolutely true. That cat was no fatter than this stick here. Well, it looks like you've seen 9 rooftops since breakfast, said Jack. Would you like a saucer of milk? And of course the cat lapped up the saucer of milk, and you all know exactly what the cat said. Thank you very much, for I would have surely died. And where do you happen to be going? We're off to seek our fortune, or at least live to the next harvest. Do you mind if I come with you? Not at all, said Jack, and they set off down the road. Well, they had hardly gone down the road when running in front of them was a fox, and in the fox's mouth was a cockerel. Quick, after him, said Jack, and the dog started chasing the fox, and the dog was running, the fox was running, the dog was running, the fox was running, the dog was running, the fox was running, the dog was nearly on the fox. The fox dropped the cockerel got on the dog's back, went back to Jack. You know exactly what the cockerel said. Thank you very much, for I would have surely died. And where do you happen to be going? We're off to seek our fortune, said Jack, or at least live to the next harvest. Do you mind if I come with you? Not at all, said Jack. And they set off down the road. Will you be relieved tonight? At this point it got dark, and they were looking for somewhere to stand. There wasn't a cottage in sight, and they all lay down on a clearing in the wood, all except for the cockerel, who went to sleep in the branch of a tree. But it had hardly been asleep when the cock started crying. What noise do cockerels make? Cock-a-doodle-doo! Cock-a-doodle! What's all that noise? Said the donkey. It must be morning, said the cockerel. Look, there's a light over there. It must be the sun rising. That's not the sun rising, said the donkey. That's a candle in a cottage window, and it wasn't there earlier. We'd better wake up Jack and the others and find out what's going on. So Jack and the donkey and the dog and the cat and the cockerel crept down to the cottage, and they looked in through the window. And there inside were 6 robbers. And one was eating chicken's leg, and one was drinking lemonade, and one was counting gold and silver. And Jack said, when I give you the signal, make as much noise as You can. And he counted 1, 2, 3. And the dog started barking. Come bark. Woof, woof, woof. And the cat started meowing. Meow, meow, meow. And the donkey started braying. And the cockerel started crying, cock-a-doodle-doo, cock. And the robbers were so frightened, they ran out the back door and went and hid in the forest. Well, Jack and his companions went inside and made themselves comfortable. But up in the forest, the robbers started complaining. I'd hardly started my chicken's legs, said one. I'd hardly had a sup out of my lemonade, said the other. Think of all that gold and silver, said the other. And the rob chief said, look, you wait here. I'll creep down the cottage. And I'll go in and I'll find out what's going on. And he crept down the cottage. And he crept inside. And it was so dark, he couldn't see his finger in front of his nose. And he crept over to the fireplace. And he tripped over the dog. And the dog bit him all up his legs. And he ran into the kitchen. And he tripped over the cat. And the cat scratched him all down his front. And he ran out the door, and there was the cockerel dropped down from the top of the door and pecked him all over his face. And he ran to the stable, and the donkey kicked him so hard, he flew all the way back to his friends in the forest. Whatever happened to you, said his friends. It's like this, he said. Actually, do you ever get to that point where you've forgotten something? He couldn't remember quite what had happened. Oh, I know, he said. I crept down the cottage. It was so dark I couldn't see my finger in front of my nose. And I crept over the fireplace and... Oh, yeah, I know what happened at the fireplace. Yeah, there was an old woman carding wool that's getting a metal brush and brushing out the sheep's wool, getting it ready to spin. And she got that metal brush and she stuck it all over my legs. Is that what happened? No. I know what happened. Yeah, you're right. It was the dog. The dog bit him all over his legs. And he said, I ran into the kitchen and he couldn't quite remember what happened there. And he thought, yeah, I know. There was a shoe mender and he had a needle. He scratched me all down the front. Was it a shoe mender? No, you got it right, haven't you? It's a cat. It was a cat. And the cat scratched him all down his front. Third time lucky, he thinks. I know. I was running out the door. And there was a little devil on top of the door. And he dropped down with his 3-pronged fork and stuck it all over my face. Well, it wasn't a little devil at all, was it? It was the... No, not chicken. The... What'd you say? The cockerel. Dropped down and pecked me all over the face. Well, I ran to the stable, and there was a man with a big hammer, and he hit me so hard I flew all the way back to the forest. Well, was that a man with a hammer? No. It was the donkey that kicked him way back to the forest. Well, whatever happened, those robbers never went back to the cottage again, and Jack and his companion lived there in luxury for the rest of their life. And if any of you had been passing, if you had on the door, you'd have been given something to eat, something to drink, and if you were very tired, a bed to sleep in. Well, then, story ends. Do you like that? I think it's time for a poem about monsters. Well, I think I'm going to just have a little sip of my lemonade. That's better. Well, me and my friend Joey thought just for a change that we'd go monster hunting on the monstrous mountain range. Joey said we'll need supplies, that is what I think. So we packed some peanut butter sandwiches. Do you like peanut butter? You don't? What do you want? strawberry jam. Oh, so he packed some peanut butter and strawberry jam. Oh, you want something else too? Cheese? So he packed some peanut butter, strawberry jam and cheese sandwiches. What was that? Hummus. Oh, so it's peanut butter, strawberry jam, cheese and hummus sandwiches. What do you like? Nutella, the chocolate spread. Chocolate spread with nuts in. So he packed some peanut butter, strawberry jam, cheese, hummus and chocolate spread sandwiches. Tuna? You want tuna? You want a bit of tomato in there as well? Okay, so we packed some peanut butter, strawberry jam, cheese, hummus, chocolate spread, tuna and tomato sandwiches and cans of fizzy drink. Well, Joey had a BMX and I had a mountain bike. We went as far as we could on those and then we had to hike. We'd not gone far up the mountain when Joey called, "Look over there. It's the barbarous, razorless monster. The one that's all covered in hair." Well, we went a few steps closer. The monster let out a roar. Give us a roar. No, a louder one than that. Now, even louder than that. That's it. "You can't scare us," said Joey. "That stuff doesn't work anymore." Then the excessively hairy monster put a finger each... that stuff doesn't work anymore. Then the excessively hairy monster put a finger each side of his teeth. And then that one ear-piercing whistle. "I've got that entirely wrong. That stuff doesn't work anymore." Whoa. Now, I'm going to come back to this because sometimes when you're saying a poem, you get it entirely wrong. So, I'm going to start the whole thing again. Me and my friend Joey thought just for a change that we'd go monster hunting on the monstrous mountain range. Joey said we'll need supplies, that is what I think, so we packed some peanut butter. And I've got to remember the whole thing again. Peanut butter, strawberry jam, cheese, hummus, chocolate spread, tuna and tomato sandwiches and cans of fizzy drink. Well, Joey had a BMX and I had a mountain bike. We went as far as we could on those and then we had to hike. We'd not gone far up the mountain when Joey called, "Look over there. It's the barbarous, razorless monster, the one that's all covered in hair." Well, we went a few steps closer. The monster let out a roar. "You can't scare us," said Joey. "That stuff doesn't work anymore." Then the excessively hairy monster with the enormous hairy head called us over to a rock, and this is what she said. "If you've come monster hunting, then I'll put up a fight. I'll gnash me teeth and throw some stones and roar with all my might. But I suspect that's not your wish, that you only want to know if monsters really do exist and how tall do they grow and are there many different sorts and whether they all live. Well, there's answers to your questions that I'm prepared to give, providing that you promise me you come with good intentions. After all, we've been around for quite some time without your intervention." "No problem," answers Joey. "That is understood. Now, why don't you tell all your friends we're really very good and we don't want to upset them or ruin their routine. But having come all this way for a monstrous display, you're the only one we've seen." Now the excessively hairy monster put a finger each side of its teeth and let out one ear-piercing whistle that made the ground tremble beneath me and my friend Joy so much that even she looked perturbed, that's frightened. And then from each side of the mountain came the loudest noise we'd ever heard. And they came with a rumble and tumble, and they came with a squelch and a crunch, and they came with a huffing and puffing, and they came with a gobble and munch, and some of them had 6 heads, and some of them only had 2. And some of them were purple, and some were pink and blue, and some had hair on the palm of their hands, and one had hair on its nose, and one was as bald as the day it was born. and one of them seemed to glow. And one was as bald as the day it was born, and one of them seemed to glow. And when they came up to the rock, the hairiest of them all, they were more than a little curious as to why on earth she called so many of the mountain's monsters in the middle of the working day, and what could be the kind of game she'd invite them all to play. "I won't keep you long," she whispered, "but of a sight that's really worth seeing. You might not have seen them round these parts before, but this is a human being. And there is another, though they're not fully grown. I think they're wondrously strange, and by far the most curious creatures to be found on this mountain range." Then Joey pulled out our sandwiches and offered them around, and without any fuss the monsters and us sat down upon the ground, and we had to agree as we munched at our lunch, although mountains have their attractions, we'd best cycle home, leaving monsters alone, trying to work out our human reactions. Whoa. I think we'll leave Joey and her friend out there.
Well, thank you, John. Them stories is brilliant. I'm hoping you'll be able to give us a few more. But in the meantime, the little gingerbread man wants to come on. Here he is. And he wants to sing his little pirate song, but he's got a bit too shy. So he's just going to stand there, and I've got to do the singing. I don't know. Anyway, here we go. Hi, diddly-dee, a pirate's life for me. You sail around the Spanish main, a scarlet scarf and a golden chain. Hi, diddly-dee, a pirate's life for me. There, you're done, all right? Away you go now. Sorry about that. Little interlude. Anyway, up. Now, I'm going to head back to John, and you remember what to do, don't you, to ask him to do a story. The old, the crickety crackety doodly daddly stuff. So if you can do that, I think it's all going to work out very well. All right then. See you anon.
And we know how we start the stories, don't we? Crick, crack, crick, crack, crick, crack. The story broke me back. Now, way back in time, when the rivers were deeper and forests were thicker and mountains were taller, there was an old woman, and she lived in a vinegar bottle. Now, one day flying overhead was a fairy, and this is what the fairy heard. "Woe is me," which means I'm very sad. "Woe is me, an old woman such as me shouldn't live in a vinegar bottle. She should live in a fine cottage with a thatched roof and roses growing around the front door." "Very well," said the fairy. "Before you get into bed tonight, turn round 3 times, and in the morning we shall see what we shall see." And the old woman didn't even say thank you. She just went to her bed, turned round how many times? 3 times, got into bed and went to sleep. And when she woke up in the morning, she was in a fine cottage, had a thatched roof, roses growing around the front door. And the fairy went all round the world and did all those things that fairies have to do. And after a year, she decided to see how the old woman was getting on. And to her surprise, not yours, this is what she heard. "Woe is me. Woe is me. An old woman such as me shouldn't live out here in the middle of nowhere. She'd live in a fine townhouse in Reading. And it should have chandeliers hanging from the ceiling, and there should be people singing and dancing on the streets outside." "Oh, very well. Before you get into bed tonight, turn round 3 times, and in the morning we shall see what we shall see." And the old woman didn't even say, that's right, thank you. She just ran to her bed, turned round 3 times, got into bed and went to sleep. And when she woke up in the morning, she was in a fine townhouse in Reading. And there were chandeliers. And there were people singing and dancing on the streets outside. And the fairy went all round the world and did all those things that fairies have to do. And after a year, she decided to see how the old woman was getting on. To her surprise, but definitely not yours, this is what she heard. Woe is me! Woe is me, an old woman such as me shouldn't have to live amongst all these ordinary people. She should live in a yes. She should live in a fine castle at Windsor, and there should be servants bringing her breakfast in bed, and the Queen should come to visit, and she should curtsy to the Queen. All right. Before you get into bed tonight, turn round 3 times, and in the morning we shall see what we shall see. And the old woman didn't even say thank you. She just ran to her bed, turned round 3 times, and got into bed. And when she woke up in the morning, she was in a fine castle at Windsor, and there were servants bringing her breakfast in bed. What breakfast would you like? Cornflakes. Oh yeah. No, you don't like cornflakes. Cocoa Pops. Oh, there's a and do you want a sausage with that? Do you want a sausage and an egg? Bit of bacon. Stack of pancakes. Do you want maple syrup on your pancakes? Yes. What do you have? Do you want a jug of milk and a jug of orange juice? Or should we put some coffee and tea on the side in case your mum and dad come in, or one of those uncles, or big brother that only drinks coffee, too old for orange juice. There was all that on two big silver trays, and she went downstairs. She had it all up. She waddled down the stairs. And there was the Queen. She curtsied to the Queen. And the fairy went all round the world, did all those things that fairies have to do. And after a year, she decided to see how the old woman was getting on. And her surprise, but no one out there in Zoomland. This is what she heard. Woe is me! Woe is me! An old woman such as me shouldn't have to curtsy to the Queen. She should be the Queen. All right. Before you get into bed tonight, turn round 3 times, and in the morning we shall see what we shall see. And the old woman didn't even say thank you. She just got the servants to carry her up the stairs, spin her around 3 times, and lift her into bed. And she went fast asleep, and when she woke up in the morning, she was the Queen. And the fairy went all round the world and did all those things that fairies have to do, and after a year she decided to see how the old woman was getting on, and to her surprise, this is what she heard. Woe is me! Woe is me! An old woman such as me shouldn't be queen of a tiny little country like this. She should be queen of the whole world. Very well, before you get into bed tonight, turn round 3 times, and in the morning we shall see what we shall see. And the old woman did not even say thank you. She just got the servants to carry her up the stairs, spin her around 3 times, cover in her silk sheets, and she went to sleep. And when she woke up in the morning, she was back in her vinegar bottle. You want to do it? Oh, all right. Crick, crack, crick, crack, crick, crack. Story brought me back. Now, way back in time, there was an old woman. And this is when all the animals could talk to each other and chickens still had teeth. And she had one silver coin and she lost it. A sixpence worth about 2.5 pence. And she looked everywhere. She looked under the cushion, it wasn't there. She looked under the chair, it wasn't there. She looked under a book, and there it was. She went to market and she bought a pig. Now you can join in with this one a little bit with some action. Anyway, so she's walking home with the pig, and she came to a fence, and across the fence was, the only way across the fence was across a stile. You know, those little steps that you use to get over fences with. And the old woman got over, but the pig would not. So she went to the dog. She went, can we get this? She went, dog, dog, bite, pig, pig, you won't get over the stile, shan't get home tonight. And you can all shout tonight when we get there as it goes on, because the dog wouldn't. So she went to the stick. She went, you're waving your fingers, you're waving the finger, even the adults. She went, stick, stick, beat, dog, dog won't bite, pig, pig, you won't get over the stile, shan't get home to night. That's right. Anyway, stick wouldn't. So she went to the fire. She went, fire, fire, burn, stick, stick won't beat, dog, dog won't bite, pig, pig, you won't get over the stile, shan't get home to night. Fire wouldn't. She went to the water. She went, water, water, quench fire, fire won't burn, stick, stick won't beat, dog, dog won't bite, pig, pig, you won't get over the stile, shan't get home to night. Water wouldn't. So she went to the ox, you know, big fellow, horn sticking out of his head. She went, ox, ox, drink water, water won't quench fire, fire won't burn, stick, stick won't beat, dog, dog won't bite, pig, pig, you won't get over the stile, shan't get home to night. Ox wouldn't. So she went to the butcher. She went, butch, butch, kill, ox, ox won't drink water, water won't quench fire, fire won't burn, stick, stick won't beat, dog, dog won't bite, pig, pig, you won't get over the stile, shan't get home to night. Butch wouldn't. So she went to the rope. She went, rope, rope, hang, butcher, butcher won't kill, ox, ox won't drink water, water won't quench fire, fire won't burn, stick, stick won't beat, dog, dog won't bite, pig, pig, you won't get over the stile, shan't get home to night. Rope wouldn't. So she went to the rat, long tail. She went, rat, rat, nor rope, rope won't hang, butcher, butcher won't kill, ox, ox won't drink water, water won't quench fire, fire won't burn, stick, stick won't beat, dog, dog won't bite, pig, pig, you won't get over the stile, shan't get home to night. Rope, rat wouldn't. So she went to the cat. She went, cat, cat, catch, rat, rat won't gnaw, rope, rope won't hang, butcher, butcher won't kill, ox, ox won't drink water, water won't quench fire, fire won't burn, stick, stick won't beat, dog, dog won't bite, pig, pig, you won't get over the stile, shan't get home to night. Cat went, all right, all right, all right. Go to the cow, get me a saucer of milk and I'll catch your rat. She went to the cow, she said, look, I haven't got time to explain. I've got to get to the end of this story. There's people been listening for hours. They've got other things to do. Just give me a saucer of milk. Cow said, fine, fine. Go to the haystack, get me an armful of hay. Bring me an armful of hay and I'll give you the saucer of milk. Well, she went to the haystack. Fortunately, haystacks can't speak. She just grabbed an armful of, help me out here, that's it, hay. She gave it to the cow. Cow gave her a saucer of Milk. She gave the saucer of milk to the cat. You all know what happened then. The cat began to catch the rat, rat began to gnaw the rope, rope began to hang the butcher, butcher began to kill the ox, ox began to drink the water, water began to put out the fire, fire began to burn the stick, stick began to beat the dog, dog began to bite the pig. Piggy was so frightened he got straight over the stile, and the old woman, she got home that night. Well, thank you for listening. It's been really nice telling stories to you. Well, enjoy the rest of the festival. My name's John Rowe, and I hope you enjoyed that.